The only amusement I had about that was we literally got chalk and we were like drawing outlines of people's bodies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, and welcome to the newest episode of Superfancom. Tonight, me and a host of others will talk about conventions, anime cons, comic cons, if that's still a good word to use, I don't know. We might get sued for overusing the term Comic Con, who knows. And the stories we have, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Tonight we are brought to you by the Green Teahouse, home of healthy, all-natural teas with flavors such as pink cherry cider, white tea, red jade, vanilla cream spice, and just in time for fall, all you white girls, they have pumpkin spice.
I'm offended by that, Rick.
Good. Apple cider is better. Go to their website with the following link to get free shipping off your order over $60. Also by Humble Bundle, where you can get great deals on so many games using our link. It's over $100 worth of games directly into your inbox for $12 a month. You can cancel anytime. You subscribe, you get this month Sniper Elite 4, Tales of Beresa, and Saxel, or choose Rise of the Tomb Raider for your Humble Bundle instead. Or maybe if you're a RPG fan explorer, they have more Pathfinder RPG books, Get Player's Guide, maps, modules, and more, including Bard's Gate Complete, The Lost Lands, Sword of the Air, and Stoneheart Valley. You can get it for all $12 a month. You can get up to $100 worth of games, cancel anytime. Also, if you like online shopping, we have a deal for Amazon Prime. You can try it for 30 days. Whatever you find on Amazon, most of the time it's Amazon Prime, which means you get free shipping. Also, by JList.com, you can get so many items from Japan, such as candy, cosplays, even adult 18-plus items. And for using our code, you get 5% off your entire order. And also, think Geek. It is an American retailer that caters to computer enthusiasts and geek culture, like Jim Henson's Labyrinth board game for 20% off, Samurai Jack Back to the Past board game, Super Mario Power-Up Mushroom Pullover hoodie, a Bob's Burgers Kuchikobi plush, and a Pokeball lunch case. All these things can be found in the link below in the description, or just follow us and we'll give you the links. With that out of the way, I'm RetroRic. I am joined by the BST of SFC, Gearhead Alice.
Hey, guys!
And we are joined once again by Hemlock Iinx from Pop Call Anime Con.
Hey, guys.
We are also joined by an old friend of mine from Three Guys and a Podcast, Three Guys, One Internet, Souleman X.
Hi, everybody. I'm Souleman X.
And as a very special guest, we have from any other podcast and around the interwebs, we have The Cat.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here tonight. Or it's tonight when we're recording anyway.
Whenever you listen to this. Okay.
Yes, what he said.
Yes. All right, now we've all been to cons. I myself have been going for about 11 years now. And the cons today have become so mainstream and has become like so different from when they once were. Now you have people who are cos famous, which can get a little iffy at times. You have people begging for photographers to be there so they can take private shoots, and I've seen a lack of people like screaming memes like Marco Polo. What time is it? Red.
Don't miss that.
The
Don't
game.
miss that.
Oh yeah, the game. People screaming Red Robin, or even random dancers who just show up and do like caramel dancing or para para.
Oh, I missed the caramel dancing.
There was I seen a couple people bring it back last year, but it's kind of died out.
Mm.
We're going to talk about cons great and small, but we are going to avoid the low-hanging fruit for now. And now, before we actually get into our topic, it was just over a couple days ago, it was revealed that San Diego Comic-Con just won a court case that earns them the right to use the term Comic-Con. And now every con that uses that term Comic-Con must be changed. It's basically the reason why Boston Comic-Con became Boston Fan Expo.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I think that's complete just BS because they've always been called Comic-Con and like it's what they're what most of them that aren't like anime based or whatever, that's what they're called. So like I don't know, it frustrates me. I think it's really stupid.
I don't know. I have a lot to say about this because I actually remember way back in the day the whole Xerox versus copier debate where at one point Xerox, which was a company name, became like the phrase that everyone would call any copier.
Right.
And they actually had to fight for their IP so that now we actually refer to copiers as copiers instead of Xerox. But again, they had legitimate reason because they were a company that, that was their company name and they just made copiers. But when it comes to a comic convention is what the genre is. It's comics. Right. It's a convention about comics. And con is the shortened version of convention. It's just standard. We're all lazy. We all shorten words. That's just that's
True.
Language. That's language for you. I think Salt Lake went about this they just had the wrong approach. They should have gone in. Yeah. They should have gone into the court and say, look, this is how it's going to be. They, for whatever reason, managed to copyright Comic-Con. And again, that wasn't right in the first place. They shouldn't have been able to do that. But they did. And they should have just went in and say, look, can we use the word convention? Because that, again, it's a word, it's something you can't really copyright. Which, again, the judges, I believe, made that decision anyway. You can't copyright convention. And they're like, fine, we're going to now be called Salt Lake Comic Convention. And maybe we'll change the website to say convention or whatever they use. And maybe we'll change the print media and stuff that we make and have it say convention. And everyone's still going to type in con and they're going to find them on Google. And it's not going to be a big thing because everyone's still going to call them Comic-Con. You can't stop people from using con. It's just part of the vernacular at this point. And San Diego Comic-Con, you can't run around to just, slap lawsuits on a regular person because they used con versus convention. And unfortunately, Salt Lake now is going to have to pay a lot of money.
Yep. Mm-hmm. $4 million. Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Holy jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a pointless lawsuit. It was just pointless. And honestly, I would have gone in and said to the judge, it's like, hey, you know what? I don't know why you guys decided to give them the trademark or IP or whatever for Comic-Con, and we'll be happy to change, use the long form of the word, but comic convention is a genre. It describes what they do, and everyone is going to continue to call them a Comic-Con. So, again, completely wasted time and effort.
Rick, do you know the exact reasoning behind it? Did you read that or no?
I read some of the articles, and then I just got disgusted with the whole thing.
Yeah, it's very weird.
And I know Anime Boston did something recently, but it was more that the other convention was trying to kind of steal their like the actual logo. They were trying to copy the logo too closely, and I believe that's why they had a lawsuit with them. So there has been something similar with the anime conventions. I can't remember all the articles. I suggest people look it up. Yeah. But that's a little different when someone's trying to steal your logo versus the words you use.
Who was trying to steal the logo?
I don't even remember now.
Yeah, I don't remember. I can send you the link. It's also in the Facebook page. But yeah, we'll talk about the San Diego Comic-Con thing more in on later on another show. But Kat, since you're from the Midwest, right?
I live in the Midwest. I'm not originally from here.
Right. But how did you start going to conventions and getting involved in cons?
Okay, my first convention, I believe I was probably about 8 years old. My family was, at the time, we were stationed in Puerto Rico, and my dad took my brother and I to a Star Trek convention. Ooh. And then we moved back to the mainland United States a year later, and we went to another Star Trek convention, Volcon 96 in Baltimore, where we lived. And so I've been going to cons for a good chunk of my life. Oh, wow. It's kind of nuts. And then I didn't do any cons for a long time. And then when I was in high school, because I lived in Baltimore and I was an anime fan, I did what every anime fan in the whole of Baltimore does, and I went to Otakon. And all of my friends did it. We did Otakon for, probably starting in 2001, I want to say, up until probably 2006 or so when I moved. I came out to the Midwest. There was no conventions out here. There had been one anime convention, and it had been a one-time thing out here when I first moved. And then I spent a year abroad in Japan, and somebody started an anime convention while I was abroad. Okay. And so I was like, oh my gosh, when I come back, I'll have so much insight on Japan and anime, and from a different perspective. And a bunch of my friends were directors of the con at that point. And I was like, hey, I'll come help you out with this thing called Anime St. Louis. And I've been on staff of that show for 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Cool. Nice. Who just dropped something?
That was me dropping my phone.
Jeez, Rick, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, I know. Soulman, how about you? When did you start going to cons?
I guess technically, if you wanted to count it, because it was a long time ago. I was probably 10 years old, but I vaguely remember my mom taking me to an X-Files expo back in 98. I think it was up in Boston, or it had to have been in the Boston area. But for what I can remember clearly is Anime Boston 2009. And the first couple years was really when I got to do the core New England conventions, the big ones, Anime Boston, Low Hanging Fruit Con, which we won't talk about right now, and AAC. Had a little bit of a dry spell in 2012, just went to Rhode Island Comic Con. 2013, I went to MagFest, and finally got to go to Otakon. I had an Otakon again in 2014. I had another dry spell for a year or two. Did Otakon 2016. Did Katsucon 2017 and 18, and just finished Otakon 2018 a couple weeks ago.
Nice. Alice, what about you?
So I'm actually pretty new to cons. I actually just started in I think when I was around 2019, around there. So I started in around 2015, 16-ish. And I went with one of my cousins, and I just fell in love from there.
Nice. Basically for me, I was at work. A friend of mine who I would normally play Smash Brothers with at a local community college, she told me about this con called Kineticon, and basically it was in '07. I had no idea what I was doing. I spent almost the entire weekend in the game room playing Smash.
Same.
Yeah, I ventured out a little bit. It was cool, but I had no idea what I was doing. But the year after, I discovered, there's other cons. So my first actual convention was Anime Boston '08. And I've been going nonstop ever since the convention.
Awesome.
Nice.
You would have probably seen me in the Artist Alley.
I may have.
Yeah, I was at Kineticon '07 selling buttons in the Artist Alley. That was when they were still in the long hallway in the back.
Oh, yes. And they had the dealer's room in the in one of the main hall, in the one of the main ballrooms.
Yep, when it was small.
Yes. Okay, let's get into story time. Hemlock, what can you report from Pop Cult? This being its 4th year. How did it actually go?
3rd year.
Oh,
I wish it was 4th year.
Right.
It was our 3rd year.
I had fun.
Thank you. We surprisingly haven't had much feedback, so I'm assuming people had fun because they usually are in a hurry to tell you when something went wrong.
Maybe they were all blown away by the fire alarm getting pulled.
Oh, God.
Fire Nation!
The Fire Nation attacked at, God, was it Saturday morning or was it Sunday morning?
It was Saturday morning. Because I was actually told the whole story in the elevator.
Did you like the elevator? Did you see the party elevator? The hotel did that for us.
That was so cool. They had lights shaped, which I didn't realize until later, in the shape of turtles.
Yes, they were turtles. There were, though I think they got all torn down, there were little beach balls hanging from the ceiling, and they did that banner, and they made cookies.
Those were amazing. I have mine in the fridge.
That was completely so cool. Surprised. The hotel, she had asked me for a graphic for a banner, but I didn't know what she was going to do with it. This is the hotel liaison I have, so they really did an extra special thing for us, and I think it's because they had a new manager at the hotel, so that person rocks. But so yeah, the fire alarm. So I'm going to tell you the rumor I'm launching, and then I'll tell you what really happened.
Okay.
So since I'm actually a villain, that was my get the hell out of bed alarm for the staff. So, because, it was 8 o'clock, and I'm like, where is everybody? They all need to get out of bed. So yeah, pull a fire alarm. What really happened, though, it was this poor 4-year-old little kid who was doing what all 4-year-olds do. They were just banging around, and he's like, oh, what's this thing on the wall? I'm just going to pull it. And yeah, no, he was crying. His mother was crying. They were quite embarrassed and upset. And I'm sure they're going to end up with a fine. Yeah, it was an accidental little thing that happens, and it is what it is. There was a lot of people at the hotel, so thankfully it wasn't in the middle of the night. It wasn't too early either. It was around 8 o'clock, so most of us were already up and running.
Right.
It just kind of sucked. But, that's kind of legitimizes you as a convention, is you got to have a fire alarm.
Yeah. Yep. Like CatSicCon.
Obligatory Fire Nation attack.
Yep. So, and the hotel and everybody handled it pretty quickly, and, thankfully, because the people who actually, the kid who pulled it, they admitted to it right away. It wasn't like a hit and run kind of thing. So they were at least responsible and owned up to what had happened. So, so can I?
Yes,
I know I was asking earlier, but can I tell you one of the funny things? It's not a PG-13 story.
Yeah, go for it.
So we have a series of panels. This are 18-plus panels, and it started last year going, our friend DL really likes cat girls. And I'm like, we should have a panel about anime titties and kitties.
I could picture DL liking that a lot.
oh, my friend, the photos we got from that panel have become memes.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
So
photos at an 18+ panel?
Well,
oh, no.
it was panels of them. So the expressions on DL's face man is talking about anime titties is just too precious for words. So yes. So there's that. So it went really well, and we decided we needed to do it again. So what were we going to do? Well, we decided it had to be about asses and glasses. That is another classic hentai combination, is the big anime booty with the sexy glasses girl, right? So,
yeah, unfortunately.
So DL has a couple of people that help him with the panels. One of them is Michaela. I'm just going to refer to her as Michaela to kind of protect her identity. So mind you, I knew this was happening. I knew they would come up with some kind of, screenshots and other things, presentation that they would have for it. I didn't really think much beyond that until Michaela comes to the info desk and catches me there. And she's like, so if I do this, does my back make a flatter table? And I'm like, what? And I watch her get down on her knees, her hands and knees, and she's kind of her butt is up in the air, and she's like this or like this.
Oh no.
And I'm like, God, what are you doing? And she's like, she's like, Mackenzie is going to eat a cupcake off my ass.
Oh.
And I'm like, what are you doing? So I was like, I just make sure the door is shut. And security's there.
I'm just envisioning the Family Guy cutaway with cake and ass.
I'm just like, no. But, and honestly, I have no idea if they actually did that or not, if they were just joking around.
Oh, no.
Oh, man. Okay.
It was a packed event, and we, in fact, unfortunately, a couple people, I believe, got shut out because they were at capacity in the room. So next year, they're either going to end up in, the biggest room we have or main events. So I don't know.
That'll happen to big events.
Yep. And, oh, God, we've already been talking about the next version of this, and it was, what we were doing? Oh, thighs and ties.
Nice.
Now, mind you, we haven't decided whether ties refers to Japanese rope bondage or the suit play where you actually have a business tie on. And, of course, we all love thick thighs, save lives. So,
of course.
So that will be next year, we believe, will be that iteration of it, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Interesting. I might actually have to attend that panel next time.
Yeah. They usually pull off a funny panel. The other big one that was an 18+ one, which the people who ran it actually did a lot of programming for us. They did the side boob hour.
That was amazing. I was part of that.
Part of that?
Yes, that was fun as hell. People kept showing up, so we had the two people who were running it. The people before ran through all the stuff they had in maybe a half an hour.
Yeah.
So the people who came in after, they said, okay, we'll redo this, and it was a great turnout, hilariously fun, and the side boob hour, I just went just to just be a body there, but I actually ended up having fun. I didn't think anything of it, but it turned out really fun. It was not like female boobs; it was like male boobs.
Oh God, they did have male boobs. Oh, that's awesome.
That is awesome.
The best one. They showed a picture. It was just like a tan body and a bluish background. 2 people got it. 2 guys got it. and the only clue that was given to them, what's the oldest anime you could think of? Off the top of your head, what's the oldest anime you can think of?
Sailor Moon?
Astro Boy?
Yes.
Astro.
I was going to say something like Barefoot Gun, something really old.
Because nipples.
It was Astro Boy. You're the third guy to say that.
That is hilarious.
And it was all guys who said that.
Oh, God.
Let you feel proud of yourself, Soul Man.
I don't know how I got no comment on that.
So the ladies who ran that told me that at the end there, they were literally looking stuff up on the internet, trying to fill it in because, again, they had said they had gone through all the stuff they had prepared so quickly.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad it went well because we do have some 18-plus programming, but we have NerdFit that does stuff like that.
Which was fun.
Yes.
I love those guys.
Yes, they're friends, so we are very glad to have them come. And, of course, it was fun to we had Michelle Knotts there, who was also a friend.
Woo!
So she did us a favor and was kind of like our test subject to see if we could handle actual industry guests yet. So I think we did pretty well. We'll see what we'll do for next year. We're not sure yet. But, yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. There were some other things that happened. So they chased me down the hall with the giant 6-foot beach ball.
I saw that clip.
So, yes, it was a lot of fun. We were reenacting Indiana Jones, which was a lot of fun. And then we have the live-action LARP group that comes in and takes over one of our rooms and does a bunch of stuff with people. And on Sunday, they actually kidnapped me. And took over the convention. Of course, I was so busy I couldn't actually be kidnapped, so they took my stand-in, which is we literally took the wacky, wavy, inflatable guy. And
I missed him this year.
No, he was there. He was being kidnapped by the LARPing group. But we stuck my face on it. We literally printed out a picture of me and just taped it to the thing. And we're like, here, this is the con chair. So they put chains on this thing and dragged it away, and I was like, okay. They had a good time, and thankfully somebody, I don't know who, because I wish now I had known, because I would have made a bigger deal out of it. Like at closing ceremonies, I could have thanked this person or something. Somebody did in fact save the con chair and save the convention, so because we'll have them back again. The LARPing group is a lot of fun. They're pretty fun. And we also had Barfleet at the convention. And they had their unofficial party going on. So that was pretty cool. That was a first. And yeah, we had a lot of great programming. The masquerade was even bigger and better. We had our first AMV contest.
Oh, how'd that go?
That went amazing. I don't know how we found Katie. She just appeared literally maybe a month and a half, 2 months before the actual convention and was like, hey, I'll run your AMV contest. And she gave me this amazingly professional write-up about what she wanted to do, the rules, everything. It was really good. And I'm like, yes, please. And she just went crazy reaching out to everybody, and I think we had over 50 entries.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So, and I'm like, wow. And it's not like I had anything to offer these people. We literally, last minute, engraved some bar glasses with pop cult, AMV,
that's cool.
Whatever. And yeah, so that went really well. Unfortunately, they didn't have an opportunity to plan panels or anything, so they're going to come back next year and do it even bigger and better. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Very nice. All right, Kat, what's a good convention story you have?
Oh God. I'm sorry. I've just been doing cons for so long. Jeez. I don't know that I have one really good one that isn't incredibly incriminating because I typically, when I work cons, because I work Anime St. Louis, I'm a director on that particular con, but I've also worked a lot of cons over the years, all up and down the Midwest. And I've worked with mostly guests. I usually do guest relations kinds of stuff. So there's so many stories that I have that I cannot tell because I will not go onto any kind of recording device and talk about guests because it's all industry people.
Right, that's fair.
I'll see if everybody else talks, I might be able to trigger something in the back of my head.
Okay.
Make a mental note. Where were you when I had my guest relations gig?
All right, Souleman, what do you got?
No. I'm just like, you can come back. Just come to me later. I'm just telling Kat, like, side note, like, where were you when I worked in guest relations
That's
or
so
Low
funny,
Hanging
Kat.
Fruit Con?
No,
gosh.
I did guest relations briefly too, but I did it for Icon, so for 2 years. That was interesting.
I've been doing guest relations for about, like maybe 6 or 7 years now, maybe more, for probably across probably 8 or so conventions I've done guest relations for, but because I took a director position for ASTL, I'm like, okay, now I don't have free time anymore. Just kidding.
Alice, any good story you'd like to share?
It's not as good as the panel one, but I was trying to say that in like a PG term and it just wasn't working. But so my favorite con story is probably last year at the con that shall not be named. So we went and we were staying the weekend, and this one night I was Pikachu. I just had a Pikachu onesie on. And obviously everyone was drunk at this time because it was like later on. And I have a flask in my hand and I go to like take a swig of it. And so many people were like, Pikachu, no! And like telling me not to drink it. And it was like an influx of people. And it was really funny. I was like, oh, okay. And I just like hid the flask behind me until everybody wasn't looking. But yeah, it was really funny at the time.
Anything, Souleman, you want to, any good story?
Good stories? Oh, okay. I gotta think on that, like, with the really good... I mean, I guess as far as, like, recent good stories, maybe I would say Katsucon this year. Despite the love-hate relationship I have with Katsucon, which isn't the con's fault itself, it's more so along the lines of the attendees that they attract.
Yeah.
So, I had taken a very long hiatus from trying my hand at panels at cons after having a small okay one at UConn in 2012, 2013, getting turned away from MagFest 2013, so I made a comeback and did one at Katsucon this year, and surprisingly went off better than I thought it would. I mean, even with all the technical issues, for what did work, we capped the room consistently. Like, a few people would leave here and there because of technical issues, but then the same amount that left would take their places, and it was a packed room. People were loving it. It was an 18-plus hentai panel, which I think the reason why this one drew in more than the other 18-plus panels did was because it was almost like a pseudo-screening of sorts, because it was a top 10 of like really fucked up, bizarre hentais. So they were people who love that shit, and there was like a front row of, you know, these like frat boy types who were just really loving it. And,
Oh God.
and you know, I had to throw in the obligatory JoJo references here and there, so they were going along with it. And like when we got to like the top 1 to 3 videos, they were just screaming like, "Holy shit! Holy shit! Holy shit!" At like the cringiest, most fucked up, most like sexual moments of these hentai clips. Like,
God.
Oh my god.
it was so bad. I feel really bad. I made one of my good like convention / streamer friends like vomit and pass out, or like, oh my god, I felt so
We
bad.
should talk. That belongs at my convention.
Well, we submitted. I barely made the deadline yesterday to submit it again for Katsucon, so hopefully they remember how decent it was, and we made preparations this time in hopes that no technical issues.
Can I just ask you on a side note, what kind of tech issues were you having?
It was mostly on the convention side. Their sound equipment isn't the greatest.
So it was like you had a projector screen set up?
Yeah, and it was also because we were using my laptop instead of my wife's laptop, so of course I still was hanging on by a semi-oldish Apple laptop, which should have worked without a hitch, but I don't know. I think it was just something with compatibility, but you're gonna use my wife's laptop this time when we go next year, and
Yeah, see, this
We'll
is
have
why
a
I'm so
Blu-ray
glad
as
I
a
invested in
backup.
TVs.
Yeah, those TVs were amazing.
It's so easy to use. All you need is an HDMI cord and then an adapter, maybe. And
yeah,
it's
I had all that
everything.
stuff. I think it was just their equipment was not getting along with my equipment, but
Yeah.
And this time around, we'll have a full team with us. Like last time, it was me and my wife, and one of our roommates kind of popped in as a last-minute co-panelist to help us. And this time, it'll be me, my wife, that same guy coming back, who's going to be like our top researcher, and then one of my co-hosts from Three Guys, Mutari, who's going to be my top editor.
That's really cool.
Very. For me, basically, I mean, like I said, I love you guys at Pop Cult. You're very easy to talk to, mainly because I know half of you.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. Because the panel times I had, I really didn't like. So I just talked to Kelly. She helped me out quick. She helped me out. She was able to change the time of my theme song bingo one, which worked out great for me, even though I was 5 minutes late. But she couldn't change the time of my Sunday one, which ended up being just like my bizarre video game controllers one, which was just 3 people showed up, then 4. So I ran through like that presentation in like 5 minutes. Then I just booted up Jackbox and we played Jackbox games for like the last like half an hour.
Cool. Yeah, it's one of those things where we definitely hit over the 500 mark, but we also put we have a lot of activities going on at the same time. So unfortunately, some of the attendees get spread a little thin.
Yeah.
So I'm glad people were going to come and were able to go to your panel.
Yeah.
And we're definitely aiming for more people next year. So.
Yeah, the theme song bingo one turned out great again. I mean, granted, I was up against the death match, which I didn't care because I drew a decent crowd.
Yeah.
I'm glad I only made like about 30 bingo cards because I wasn't going to have 60 of them this year because I wasn't going to print out like 60 and like write 60 permutations of like theme again. But I had a good time there, and also a good story about Eurasia, which is in Boston. Very nice staff. When I submitted the panel for Lip Sync Battle, they were like, "We've never done this panel before." And they just kept asking me so many questions, like, "How do you want the lights? Where do you want people to sit?" I'm like, "I just want a panel room and just a desk setup for my laptop." A place where people can like look at songs and just like non-workable mics. And they kept asking me like, how do you want lighting? How do you want the lighting cues to be? How do you want like the seats? I'm like, calm down. I just want a basic panel room. So they gave me a panel room where like the previous panel was a running play that apparently the con does, which ran about like 10 minutes over, and like the staff was like kept apologizing to me. I'm like, I don't apologize. I don't really care. But panel relations like super nice to me. They kept asking me questions like, oh, how long have you been doing panels? Why did you want to do your panels here? I'm like, because I wanted to try something new. And this time I've ever been to Eurasia. So, I mean, Eurasia ended up not being like my type of con because it's basically like sci-fi, like steampunk, which was cool. But I guess my problem was I didn't really know like anyone there.
Mm.
Kind of like there was a con in Rhode Island. It was which is now Neon, which is a synthwave 80s arcade convention which happened last week, and I'm sad I missed it. But the con that it replaced was a all steampunk convention, which was amazing.
That sounds really interesting.
All right, how cool this con was! The dance floor was also the arcade room.
What con was this?
It was it'll come to me eventually.
Yeah,
And also, not only did they have Artist Alley in a dealer's room, they had dealers' hallways.
Stop it!
Where basically everyone's room is a dealer's room.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. That was at Eurasia, right?
No, that was at this con. I can't remember his name.
Oh my god! Please remember the name of it.
Didn't you think it was like Neon or something, or?
Yeah, Neon is the new con that it replaced.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, it was some con I went to like maybe 3 years ago. For the price, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, Eurasia used to do I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do the hotel rooms for dealers.
Yeah, they didn't do it this year, but I thought that was such a cool idea.
It can be. It can also be a pain in the butt, but again, it depends. Yeah.
All right, moving on to bad stories.
Oh, God.
Who'd like to go first with like a bad story, like a bad convention story?
Now, before anyone says anything, are we going from like low tier cringe to top tier, or chronologically, or how do you want to do it?
However you like, because after bad, then we get the ugly side of convention.
I have a story I want to save for ugly.
All right. So you have like I can go first with a bad one.
Yeah, you go first this time.
First is the Rhode Island Comic Con 3 years ago. 3 or 4 years ago, where they had, now normally their lines are pretty long, but that year it was just unbelievably long. They didn't just wrap around the building, they went up the road and over the block.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and thankfully it was like decent weather out, unlike the first year, which was just like pouring, driving rain. So you had like people waiting like 3-hour lines. And then like this past year, I mean, I'm used to being at convention lines that are long. So I was in back of this family who was like, we paid $100. We should have already been inside of this by now. Who are these people think they are? We paid $100. We are entitled to be in this convention now. I'm going to go and so the mother like storms off, tries to go into the place where you get your tickets, and the officers like let her in, but then she goes back out like 5 minutes later saying, "Oh, we can't get in. They're still waiting on people." I turn to them and say, "Oh, you must be new at conventions. You should have been here 3 years ago when the line was longer than this."
Yeah, line cons.
Oh my god.
Because it was just like maybe 3 hours of non-stop talk, like bitching about like how bad the line is. I'm like, calm down. But yeah, then we got Anime Boston 08's line con.
They at least learned pretty quickly, and they are one of the fastest lines now, I think.
Even with all the security checks.
Yes, where they have metal detectors.
I can't say anything about that because I get a fast pass because we have a table. We get a table at Anime Boston. Oh, that reminds me. I have a story about Anime Boston and Pop Cult this year. That was cool, but annoying.
Well, Anime Boston 08, like I said, was like my first like big convention. It was like the first real convention I went to. Also, the first time I cosplayed. I was doing the main character from Persona 3. And my outfit had just arrived maybe like 3 days before. So it was brand new. So my family drives me up, and I'm staying at the Hilton. Of course, you know which Hilton I'm talking about. However, I didn't know which Hilton it was, so I stayed. So the first Hilton my parents dropped me off at was the Hilton up the street a ways.
Oh, I have a story about that. Go ahead, but I have a story.
Okay, so me and my mom are just walking around like, I don't know, is this the right thing, the right convention, the right hotel I'm at? Right. I don't know where the con is. I'm new here. But the concierge was like really nice. He goes, oh no, it's down the block a bit. So we get there. I check in the hotel. My parents leave. I get my costume on. And I go in line. I stay in line. 3 hours. I haven't moved in 3 hours. Now, my outfit is 3 days old. Apparently so is the wig, because the blue dye from the wig started dripping down my face.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Like, what is going on? So after a while, maybe about 3 or 4 hours, the line finally moved. Then I hear something about, like, pre-reg. I'm like, what's a pre-reg? Because I'm new to cons. I don't know anything about the convention. So I go, what are you talking about? Oh, there's a line for pre-reg and a line for regular reg. I'm like, which line am I in? They go, pre-reg. I'm like, oh no. So I thought I was like screwed. I was like, oh no. I'm like freaking out the whole time. Staff comes up to me, goes, what's wrong? I tell them, they go, okay, we'll get you sorted out at some point. 4 hours, 5 hours, still in line. Later, I see my buddy walking past me. He goes, hey, how's it going? I tell him. He goes, that's rough. They were in line for 6 hours, and he had to like leave because he was getting sick. So his girlfriend had to stay in line for him. So I get up to where you're supposed to register, and the guy's moving people left and right. I'm like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know which line I'm supposed to be in. He goes, well, what line do you want to be in? I go, the regular registration line. Well, sir, you just go to the right. That's the right line for you. I'm like,
What?
Oh, man.
Not how
Somebody had lost their mind.
yeah. So
seriously.
basically, I was in the right line the whole time. It just like the line just didn't split. But that was like one of the a really bad like line con for me. All right, what do you got, Alice?
Okay, so this isn't really my story, and before I say it, I want to preface that my friend Tave is horrible with directions. So I love you so much, Tave, but I need to tell the story. So basically, it was Anime Boston, and I think she said she was staying at the Sheraton. So we thought she was staying at the Sheraton that the con was in, and we were like, oh girl, you're right there, like don't worry about it, like we'll come get you in a little bit. Yeah, no. So where she actually was across the bridge, so like in a completely different like suburb or whatever, like part of Boston, and they walked the whole way. And me and the person I was with, not knowing that they were across a bridge, were like, "Oh, you're almost there. Like, you should be right there." We thought she meant like the Sky Bridge.
Yeah.
No, that's not. No.
Oh.
And so basically, it took them like, I want to say like 45 minutes just to walk to the con, not knowing that we didn't know where they were, and then it was just a mess because they couldn't find where they were supposed to get their tickets, and we were trying to explain it to them, and it just was not working. But yeah, that's not my story; it's her story. But that's her, and I'm pretty sure that was like one of her first cons too, and I felt so bad for her.
It happens.
Yeah, it was really funny. We laugh about it now, but
Yeah, that can really kind of ruin your convention experience, though.
yeah, she was in cosplay and everything, and I was like,
Oof.
poor
Oh,
baby.
no.
Oh. Yeah, that's my story.
Anyone else got like a bad one?
Hmm.
We had a really good line con out here in the Midwest. Anime Central in Chicago is the big Midwest convention, and I don't go there because
Yeah, I've heard stories.
of the year that their entire system, like the whole internet, everything crashed, and the registration line was 11 hours long.
Oh my god.
That was like ABO8. That was like ABO8.
They're also like a super rave-centric convention. So it's a lot of like young people getting trashed, like getting wasted, and then going to rave after rave. And there's like an ambulance count that they do.
Wow.
So you know, like everybody's like, oh, everybody gets one fire alarm a year for a con. Well, this is like they have a game where you count the number of ambulances, and I think this past year was like 12 ambulances or something.
Oh, no.
And most of the ambulances are called on the rave. And I can't even imagine actually attending, like I've been to the convention a couple of times, but I've never done the rave or anything like that because that's just not my scene, but
Right.
I can't imagine being the security staff for that particular show because that would be wild.
Well, there was,
Yeah.
like AB Anime Boston had to stop having the rave because people died at the rave. Well,
Oh my god.
Well,
Really?
well,
That's got to be a rumor.
no, it actually is not. The Keith from Operation Hammond. He actually told me the full story. I forgot when it was. It was like 2012, 13, and Keith is a EMT. So it happened that he got food poisoning from the Dunkin' Donuts that's right in the Prudential Center because that Dunkin' Donuts is run by awful people.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah, they're horrible to really anyone there. But he had to like drive himself to the hospital. In the meantime, the rave was happening, and apparently someone spiked the water.
The water? With
Yeah.
what?
Things.
Oh, okay.
So basically,
Illicit things?
yes. Very.
Oh my god.
So ambulance were called, and technically they died off AB grounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and my buddy who was driving himself to the hospital heard this over his intercom. So that's basically the story. Because he had to go to the hospital because he had like stomach bug because of the Dunkin' Donuts there. And that's how we found out that about 3 people died from the rave.
Oh my goodness.
3? Wow.
Great, yeah. And that's why
That's
AB does
insane.
not do a rave anymore.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And that was like 3-4 years ago now.
Wow, that's insane that 3 people died. Like, it wasn't just one, which would be sad within itself, but 3 people. That's crazy.
I also think that was the same year. Not only did they have Anime Boston going, They had PAX East during the same time.
That's it. Yeah, I've heard about that, and that's actually insane.
Yeah, they had PAX East and Anime Boston on the same weekend.
Yeah, that was. I remember that year, and a lot of people had a hard time picking which one they wanted to go to, and I thought that was kind of. It was stupid
because PAX East people were actually coming into AB without badges.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's insane.
Because they used the alternate exit.
Right. Yeah.
Was this the same year that a certain someone got roofied at a hotel party?
It probably was.
Oh, you know who? I'm not going to say who it is because I don't want to embarrass the individual or anything, but I think everyone in this conversation knows who I'm referring to.
Oh, okay. I think I do. Maybe. I don't know. Anyone with another, like, not really a good story, but, like, meh story?
I can share one from last year from Pop Cult, which was more embarrassing on my part.
Okay.
But that was when I ran out of lanyards.
Oh, that was
no.
After we had given that no-name con such shit, I was like, oh, I was so embarrassed. I mean, it was great that we had enough people that I ran out because I thought I ordered enough, but
because I was right there because I was at like next person, then you guys ran out.
Oh no!
It was so embarrassing. So I had
you guys did an amazing job. It was like maybe 15, 20 minutes, and boom, you guys automatically had everything down.
No, because I literally got in the car, drove my butt to Staples, got a bunch of lanyards, like not lanyards, but the bull clips.
Yeah.
And then hauled butt back to the convention and gave them to registration because I was like, oh my God. I literally took a picture of myself standing in line with a basket full of these things going, I will be back there shortly. I'm so sorry. So, I mean, I can at least say we had them and we ran out, so it wasn't a thing of we just didn't have them at all.
Yeah.
But it was very embarrassing, and I totally overcompensated this year and bought like 1,000 lanyards, so we actually have a good amount for next year, and I'll get more and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that was my oh no.
But the difference is that you actually fixed the problem on the spot and owned up to it.
Yeah. Real talk though. Was it a 3-day show? And then what day did you run out of lanyards?
No, Pop Cult is not technically 3 days. We're we're 2+. So I think it was Sunday.
No, it was Saturday.
Was it Saturday? It was Saturday. I mean, we don't. By then, all the pre-reg people had picked up their badges and stuff anyway, and we only had the day-only Sunday tickets. But at that point, like I said, I ran out and got like a bunch of the badge clip things, so we had enough to cover. In fact, I took some back because I was like, I don't need these. I'm going to get my money back. So I actually took a bunch of them back that we ended up not needing. So, but yeah, no, that was actually really good. We had really good growth, so I was very happy.
That's really hard to get, depending on your region and the size of your show. We ran out of lanyards this year at ASTL, and we had kind of plateaued at like 5,000 people. So we were like hoping for like 5,500, but really like planning for like 5,000, and then we ran out of badges and lanyards.
Oh yeah,
because we do separate badges. So we do like 18 plus badges, and so like. It's basically like we have red badges for anybody who's under 18, and it's sort of like a, hey, don't hit on them if they have a red badge.
That's
like
idea.
AAC.
Yeah.
AAC used to do that.
We had our own staff and board had long, in-depth conversations about whether we should do that or not, and we decided not to, just because we didn't think it was like a privacy issue, and that we also didn't want people who were under 18 to become targets.
Well, that's true.
And then we just were like, it's too easy to hand off an 18-plus badge to somebody else. We're just like, no, we're just going to ID check. If you are 18, you need to have an ID. Yeah.
So
yeah,
for like
it's
18 plus panels, we do ID check, but just for like general wear, we do red and green.
No, we did discuss that at length, and I know for us, it was just like, you know what, it's not worth it in the long run, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, it would be coming so handy if I could, I know I can hit on this person because they're over 18, and but yeah, in the long run, we were just like, you know what, it's a privacy issue, and
yeah, AAC does that with like they put like a stamp on it, right, Souleman?
I think it was like a small stripe, I think, at the bottom of the badge. Like, the badges should have been identical, but, like, I think it was, like, the very bottom, it was a very thin line. Like, there's, like, a red stripe was under 18, and, like, a blue stripe was over, or vice versa, or something. Like, it was very discreet, but at the same time, when you look close up, you're like, oh, I probably shouldn't hit on this person, or, oh, this person's way too old. Oops.
too old.
Oh God, no! Don't
I'm
say
just
that.
picturing Chris Hansen showing up on and be like, "Why don't you have a seat?"
So I know PortCon Maine uses a stamp that on the back of their badge for their 18 plus stuff, but I never actually went to any 18 plus paneling, so I don't know if they also ID check.
All right, now let's get into the fun stuff with the ugly side.
Oh God!
Now, I'm gonna say one of other than the low hanging fruit, which we will get into, because Kat.
Yes, please. I have things to say.
Because I'm sure Kat is like, what is this convention? What are they talking about?
Yeah, I have stories too. Not mine, but other people's.
Yeah, well, one of the worst was a college con called QuinnyCon.
Oh, is that the one in Connecticut?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, I've been to that.
The one that got shut down.
Oh, it did.
Yes, and I'll explain.
Is that at Quinnipiac by chance?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh,
it was.
okay.
And they did it for 2 years. They were going to have a 3, but I'll get into that. All right. Now, the first year at QuinnyCon, me and a friend who has since gone on to make her own convention called RuffleCon, which is a fashion LolitaCon up in like upstate Connecticut, by New York, Stamford, Connecticut. Me and her were the last remaining parts of Connecticut the musical, which has now gone on to be a part of Pop Cult.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, congratulations on this year.
Yes, it went really well, though they're going to take a break. It was a lot of work this year, so
Sure.
we have plans for next year that are going to be a lot of fun, so.
Nice. But yeah, we were the last like remnants of Connecticut the musical due to Connecticut not loving our thing we did. Because we always had to preface the Connecticut musical by saying we are not affiliated with Connecticut. We're just called Connecticut the musical because we're a musical and we're at Connecticut.
Yep.
And I was basically one of the writers on it for like the last maybe 2 years. I was the cameraman for 1 year and then a part writer for another year. So me and my friend Christina basically were at the first QuinnyCon, and we decided to make a game show called Otaku Jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
And we really didn't know what the hell we were doing. It was made up in 20 minutes, and half an hour later we presented our thing. We had a decent turnout, but then this became a thing, which has continued for me because I love doing panels at conventions. And this was basically where it started with QuinnyCon. So it went okay. We were doing other panels at conventions. QuinnyCon 2 comes around, and we decided not to do it at QuinnyCon this year. Then, a week before the convention, they actually had Geek Jeopardy. They said, "Oh, what's this? I guess they want us to do the panel, I guess." So Christina was emailing QuinnyCon, and they said, "Oh yeah, we thought you guys were going to do it anyway." Okay, thanks for telling us. So we have about a week to figure out what we're doing. And QuinnyCon said, come up with the questions, but we will host the event ourselves.
What?
What?
Yeah.
How is that okay?
We said, fine, but what about the prizes? Oh, don't worry, we'll take care of that too. I think you can see where this is going.
Yeah, this doesn't look very good.
So, cut to like QuinnyCon the day of. I'm already there. My friend Christina's husband has like an asthma attack, and he's all out of his inhaler. So she has so she has to go to the hospital with him. She calls up QuinnyCon, saying that we're going to be late. Can we go later on? They go, yeah, sure. You can be like one of the last to present your panel in the main event. They go, that's fine. That's totally good. Gives me a chance to like mill around and do nothing for a while. This is also the convention that one of my friends got blacklisted from the convention. Not DL. This is someone entirely different. But no, he got blacklisted for being a part of this ongoing who used to do the cosplay court case.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yes. So Christina gets to Quinnipiac. I help her unload her stuff. We're testing everything out. So we get up to the stage, and we're like looking around, saying, "Where is staff? Who's doing this?" There's no one around for about 20 minutes. I'm like, I guess we'll do it then. Where do we plug all this stuff in? Another 20 minutes just to find a staffer who has to go another 10 minutes looking for tech. So eventually, a good half hour to 45 minutes were spent looking for staff and tech just to help us out. So we do our panel. Everything's going along until the end. The next panel is up, and it's like the cosplay dating game or like one of the main events. And one of them goes to me, "Hey, you guys almost done here?" I go, "Well, we have one more round." "Yeah, you gotta end this now because this is the ending."
What?
And we're more important.
Oh God!
I'm like,
that's terrible.
But we need a third person because it's just gonna be two people. They go, "We don't care. Just end this now." So this kid just randomly is like going across my eye level. I go, "Hey kid, jump in this thing. You can be the final panelist." So we do the final Jeopardy question. A friend of mine wins it, who's no longer a friend of mine. Souleman X Your Ex.
We don't talk about this shit on screen.
It's like Voldemort, Rick. You can't discuss it.
Yeah. So this person wins. I go to them, just go up to staff, tell them you won, get your prize. 20 minutes later, they don't know what I was talking about.
Of course they don't.
Yeah. So I tell Christina that. She goes, "God damn it," because she had a Lolita panel like an hour later. She goes, "Fuck this, I'm leaving."
Oh,
so she bolts, and I'm like, "Okay, come on." So I basically take this person to the dealer's room and have them pick out something to buy.
Oh, that was nice.
At least you did the right thing. Yeah.
Yes, and then QuinnyCon was going to come back, but that year they weren't going to be at Quinnipiac. Alice, you might know where this place. It was the Safari water park.
Oh God!
Yeah, you know where I'm talking about.
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, in Waterbury, Connecticut, which is not a very good place to be in general.
No, please don't come here. No one wants to do that.
Yeah, and they actually booked like 3 voice actors, one who I was really getting chummy with on Twitter. And a week before the convention, it turns out the hotel they booked was shutting down that Sunday.
What?
Wait,
Yeah.
where was this again? Which water park?
The safari one.
Safari?
Yeah, it was like right off on the highway. It's not there anymore. It's closed down.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't think it was called Safari, but I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking
I think
about.
it was, yeah.
Something like that, but yeah, okay.
It was like a water park.
Yeah, it was the indoor water park, right?
Yeah, it was the indoor water park.
Yeah, okay. That is what I was thinking, and that's ridiculous. No one should go there ever.
Well, no one can because they shut it down.
Exactly.
They were going to shut it down that Sunday of the con.
I've had many friends who worked there in the past when it was still open, and just, no. You don't want to have a con there, no.
Yeah, and me and my friends were doing, like, research of this hotel. Let's see. Bed bugs, broken glass in the room.
Yeah. Okay, our mall had bed bugs. No one should come to this town.
Hey, I like the Brass Mall, but yeah, we were finding out.
Just don't go see a movie there. It's fine.
Yeah, fine. But Quinnipiac basically shut down. They never actually did the con. And a buddy of mine, it took 2 years for him to get a refund.
Wow.
You've got to be kidding me. That's a joke, right?
No, I swear to God, it's true.
Oh my God.
It took him 2 years for staff of QuinnyCon to give him a refund of his money.
What the fuck?
That's something. I don't even know what to say to that. That's crazy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, some people bit off more than they could chew.
Definitely,
Some
yeah.
people don't know how to run a con. We'll get to one of them soon.
Oh, I'm so excited.
All right, anyone else got like a...
I have one, and I don't know if I brought this up last time, but I will speak about it till the day I die. Because it was the worst experience ever. Now, this is when I was doing artist alleys. And so, in fact, I was at Quinny. You probably saw me in their little dealer/artist alley because I was also there for the first 2 years selling buttons. So, yeah, this was at Anime Next. And honestly, I don't even quite remember the year anymore, but this was still when they were in Secaucus.
Right. Back when it was still talked about.
Yeah, when, it was a good con. It wasn't too bad. That location, it was actually not a bad location. They just ran out of space, which is what happens. Yeah. But so what they were trying to do, because they were basically had outgrown the space, and they were trying to fit the artists in. So what they tried to do, and it was horrible, is that underneath the expo center was a parking garage. And they literally enclosed the parking garage with plastic tarps and sheeting and stuck the artists down there on black parking tar, literally on hardtop. We were down underneath the convention. There was one staircase to get to the area from the actual expo center upstairs. So it wasn't even handicap accessible.
Jesus.
There was horrible lighting. It is literally no air. We had to buy fans at the Walmart next door just so we could breathe. Because again, this is tar. You're standing on blacktop with tables and you're trying to sell stuff, and we're enclosed with tarps. So there's no air movement. There's barely any lighting. Where my particular group was there, we didn't even have lights. We actually physically had it got up and moved a whole line of tables over so that we could have light in our particular area. And it was just a nightmare because nobody knew where we were. You were suffering because, again, you're standing on tar. It smelled bad. There was no air. We managed to get some power down there through extension cords and stuff like that. And, of course, obviously, we didn't have very good sales and all this other stuff. And it was just the worst idea ever. I don't know who thought that would be a good idea or anything, but I'll never forget it because normally artists artists always seem to get the short end of the stick at a lot of conventions, which is, I don't know why, because without art you wouldn't have anime. But yeah, it's like the artist alley. They'll bend over backwards for the dealers, but a lot of conventions just screw the artists. And this just happened to be the perfect example of, we don't really give a shit about you, so we're going to put you in a parking garage.
Damn.
In the basement. So, yeah, that was really ugly.
Lord.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The only amusement I had about that was we literally got chalk and we were like drawing outlines of people's bodies.
Outstanding.
And we did manage to get some caramel dancing going. I think they were either that or the Cotton Eye Joe. We were trying to amuse ourselves down there.
You got it. Kat, anything?
Okay. I don't want to go into too much detail because I could talk about this topic for probably about 36 days in a row. But
We'll have you on again.
Very early on with Anime St. Louis, we had a director who I won't name, but there was a lot of disagreements with her, and the long story short is she was kicked off staff, and she decided to go start her own anime convention. There's like 2 years worth of drama built into this, and I'm telling you the most condensed version that I can. But the gist of it is that she was a little bit crazy. And she really, really, she just loved conventions, and she really thought that she was the best conceivable person to be running a convention. And because she wanted to start up her own show, she had no starting funds at all. And after, I believe, just the first year of her own show, the rumor was that she had maxed out 2 credit cards.
Oh, wow.
Just trying to put on her own show. And everybody who went to it said that it was pretty terrible. But because I live in the Midwest, it's just like something for people to do. And it continued on for maybe 4 years before she eventually passed it on to somebody else. I don't know if she passed her debt on to somebody else. And then she later, from what I understand, got on some better medication and is actually a much better, saner person than she used to be. But in that meantime, somebody had seen how before she had been kicked off staff, somebody had said, I don't like how this convention is run. I'm going to start my own, which is what young people who don't know any better do.
Right.
So she was starting up her convention, and then this other one wanted to start up, but it kind of stalled out for a couple of years while they tried to make some funds. And then the girl who was going to run that one eventually left, and it fell into the hands of one of my other friends who is a terrible human being who should not be put in charge of things. And so what we had was 2 drama cons whose foundations were only in they were like vanity projects, I want to say, that were there because somebody thought they could do better but didn't really understand how to run a con.
Oof.
So at some point St. Louis, if you've never been, is kind of like a really big small town or a really small big town. It kind of fluctuates. But the makeup of anime conventions in St. Louis is the majority of the attendance is between 13 and 21. So these are people without a huge amount of disposable income. And suddenly there's 2 more anime conventions out there, all trying to pitch themselves between the months of May and August. That is not a lot of time for people to recuperate the amount of money that they're going to spend at a con. And so you've got 3 cons all saying, come to me, and only one of us survived.
Oh, wow.
The other 2 ended up eventually going on permanent hiatus, basically. And it was, mostly good people running them, just they never had a good foundation, so they didn't have what it took to succeed. And a lot of first-year startups, or what I call drama cons, they just don't have it.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay, Soulman. Were you at KatsuCon like 2 years ago?
2016?
Yes.
I lobby-conned for that one because I had a lot of Otakon friends who were there and didn't have a lot of income at the time. So we kind of wife and I kind of just scoped it out a little bit. What happened?
Oh, no, I was just curious if you knew the story of the lava lamp and gummy bears.
Oh, lava! No, actually, that was 2017.
Oh, it was
I heard about the gummy bears.
There's someone like the gummy bears thing is tame compared to the lava lamp thing.
Yeah, the gummy bears. I saw the aftermath of the gummy bears.
Oh God!
Basically, the gummy bears was basically someone took like a wheelbarrow full of gummy bears and basically did a cosplay in the gummy bears.
What?
They
In
were
the
like,
hotel
in the
room.
cosplay? Yeah, they were in a bathtub, and they took a photo shoot with them in the bathtub filled with gummy bears.
Yeah.
I've seen the images. It wasn't even memorable, so it wasn't like a really interesting thing. And then afterwards, I saw pictures of this too. They left the gummy bears in 2 like plastic tubs in the hallway for the hotel to clean up.
Yep.
Oh, douche move.
Yeah, so that was not cool.
Yeah, then
that's still tame compared to all the vandalism and madness and debauchery that has been KatsuCon over the last 2 to 3 years.
Can I just say, as someone who runs convention who has an amazing relationship with a hotel, that is my nightmare. That my attendees destroy the hotel and they kick us out.
Yeah.
Because the Sheraton has been so good to us and, welcomed us with open arms that that is one of the things that I will ban people from the convention, is that if I catch you destroying that hotel, you're out.
Yeah, because I love that hotel. No. I haven't been there since I was 12, so I hold a special place in that place for me. Kind of like when the AAC used to be at the castle as well.
Yeah. Yeah, they started in one, so.
But also the story of the lava lamp.
Oh, God.
Yes, you tell.
Well, apparently, KatsuCon is also known for orgies.
That sounds about right.
Gotta get on that FetLife app.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, KatsuCon is basically known for orgies in the main hotel.
It's a real quick to touch on that. KatsuCon is one of those really big East Coast DC area party cons, sex orgy, debauchery cons.
But at the same time, it's an amazing convention. It's very fun to be at. The nightlife is very fun. Everyone's really chill. However, there are those stories about every year someone pulls the fire alarm. And there was 1 year that someone pulled the fire alarm while there was 3 feet of snow outside.
Wow, that's a dick move.
Yeah. But then there was the year the Fire Nation attacked.
Which year? You gotta be a little more specific, because they attack every year at least once.
This was the time that people were ripping signs down from the walls.
So 2016 or 2017, probably.
2016. Because there was actually pictures of water damage in the hotel, people ripping off the exit signs.
One Punch Man was here.
Yeah. But the story, basically, that lava lamp was used in a way during an orgy, fill in the blanks.
Hey, at least it wasn't born.
Lava Booty was born.
Yes, Lava Booty was born.
An eternal KatsuCon 21 plus meme that is almost a forbidden meme now because of how overdone it is. Rick, you didn't mention Condom Guy either from 2017.
I was not aware of this.
Oh man, you're gonna love this one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now.
So yeah, in a nutshell, there was a guy going around during these alleged, sex orgies or sexual encounters, and he was poking holes in condoms. And then he was fucking all these women with the busted condoms, and they find, thankfully none of the women allegedly got like STDs or pregnant or anything like that. And the only reason the guy was actually found out and busted is because, like a lot of, low tier trolls and all around dumbasses of conventions and the internet, he bragged about it.
That's disgusting and probably not legal.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he had all kinds of charges pressed against him.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that was a big what the fuck in Katsu 2017, aside from lava booty and the typical hotel vandalism.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, I think this show is winding down, so I think we should get to, Soulman, you did about 2 episodes on this. Kat, I'm sure, is like interested in what this convention is all about. But let's talk about the con we have to, Kineticon.
The elephant in the room.
Yeah. Now, Kat, are you at all familiar with what Kineticon is?
I have heard of Kineticon, and I'm getting the gist from you guys.
Can I say something that really grinds my gears about Kineticon?
Sure.
Okay, so I've only gone 2 years, but this past year that I went, so 2017, I was sitting there just hanging out like a normal con goer, and I was outside, and there's like those steps outside, and there was a girl who was, I think she had like a cast on her leg. I don't really remember, but she was like disabled in some sense that she could not walk down the frickin' stairs. And they basically told her to F off. Okay, not in those words, obviously. They didn't say that. But they basically said, like, you're going to have to go down these stairs, like, or you're not getting into the con. And I heard this, like, from my own ears, and it was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very insensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was like, what?
Now,
that's only scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that just made me so mad.
Now, Kat, you were talking about badges earlier. 2 years ago, this con ran out of lanyards Thursday, the day of the convention.
What?
No.
And they
Wasn't it though that they didn't even have them at all because they didn't get shipped or something?
Yeah, their supplier didn't come back to them. So they were not letting people in that Friday who did not have a lanyard on.
That makes a lot
You need to explain to them why they made this blunder, though, Rick.
Well, that also pairs with the fact that it was raining outside and you had like a line of people waiting in line to get into the con. But Soulman, take it.
The con was the week after the week of or the week after 4th of July, right? Like the week of?
Yeah.
So, the dumbasses who, are Kineticon didn't take that into account, and when they put in the order, they wouldn't have gotten the lanyards until after the con, or maybe during, if they were lucky. So, yeah.
But let's start with the major issue with the owner himself.
Oh God, that fucking guy.
Can I just say, because I've been attending Kineticon, so I have a theory.
Yes.
Because when I started going back in 2006, it actually wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
And I think at the time, the head of the convention was dating somebody who was the bunny girl, who I believe the mascot, one of the bunny girls, was based on. And she was into anime. he was actually into gaming. So they combined forces and started this convention, and it went pretty well. There was, I think, some regular snafus at any convention, but it happens. But for the most part, it was fine. And then I believe their relationship got rocky. The convention started to, get worse. And then I believe they broke up. And that's when everything went to hell.
Pretty much.
Because he didn't really care for anime. I don't think he's never cared for anime.
No, he does not.
Yeah, so he now is stuck with this convention that does make him a lot of money, and he has some problems.
Even though the convention is labeled as nonprofit,
it's not. I don't know where.
I don't know.
It's an LLC. I can for sure tell you.
It's for
it's
profit.
an LLC.
All right, now, Kat, think of: would you ever, as a convention owner, shit talk any other convention on a podcast?
I'm trying not to right now. I'm only shit talking the other two cons from my town because they're not around anymore.
Without factoring those in, though.
Yes, but no. It's as a con director and stuff like that, you have a public presence because cons are a community of people who vaguely kind of all know each other, and so one of the big no-nos is don't say rude things about other cons or other con leaders or anything like that. You keep that stuff private, like grown-ups.
And you know what, though? I will say this because I think you are right in a way, and I would never say anything about any other convention except for this convention because I have personal beef with this man. And he did something to me that I'll never forgive him for. And normally, you know what, I wouldn't talk about this in front of a lot of people, but I don't think he deserves any respect anymore. I really don't.
Before we get to that, now, Kat, this guy was on a podcast and legitimately said he does not understand the popularity of anime. He went to what was it?
Otakon.
He went to Otakon, and he hated it because there was so much anime, and he's only there for board games.
Why would you go to Otakon for board games? Why?
Then he talks about like 3 other cons he goes to that like are just anime based, and he just hates it all. He does not, and this is a legit quote from him. I do not understand where anime fans come from, how they keep going, or why anime is still so popular. Why anime continues to be so popular, I'll never know. I don't know what happens to fans of anime once they reach a certain age. Maybe they outgrow it. Maybe they have families or get into D&D or some other stuff. But with like D&D or comic books, people are always around. But with anime, I have no idea.
Look at Mr. Wannabe Big Daddy anime expert.
Yeah.
God almighty.
And it's funny too, like if I may chime in on this with the whole Otakon shit talking. Now, granted, Otakon has had its issues, past and present, and I've said this before on Three Guys, I've said it on Soulcast, I'll say it here as well, and I'll even personally deliver it to the man himself. Do you know what Otakon does that you don't do, Mr. Daigle? Otakon listens to their fans. They actually give a fuck about their fans. They will take any constructive feedback or criticism, and they will do everything in their power to fix it, if not improve it, or find a way to improve it in the future. And as far as the tabletop stuff goes, I mean, granted that back in the day when it was at the BCC, their game room was indeed a joke, but it was still, a decent attempt at gaming because they had little sections of, indie games or consoles or tabletop. Might not have been his cup of tea, but
yeah.
Otakon, for those of you who may or may not know, Otakon relocated to Washington, D.C. last year. And I skipped out last year because I was iffy, new venue, could be rocky. Went this year. It was actually really good. And their game room, holy fucking shit, they stepped up their game, no pun intended. Like, they have everything under the sun now for their game room. They've got arcade games, console games, tabletop games, shit from Japan. They even had a couple, trading card vendors in there. Granted that they were kind of a ripoff, but still, probably better than
normally are.
Better than the tabletop shops that Rick and I are familiar with in the Connecticut area. And even Extra Life was there, which was great because I'm very big on Extra Life, and I think it was cool that they had a good presence at Otakon. I don't know how their presence is at Kineticon these days, if they even have a presence.
I don't think they do. But Alice just became a member of Extra Life at Boston Fan Expo, right?
Yay! Yeah.
Yep.
Super exciting. They were super, super nice, too.
But yeah, Kineticon is, it started off as a good idea. It's one of Doug, a.k.a. the Nostalgia Critic's favorite conventions.
And it still is. Yeah. God, why?
And basically this convention is basically going from the fans to it's all about who they can get as guests. And it's the guests who come first. They get preferential treatment on panels, which means people like me, we have to wait for so long for our panels to even be considered. Which also brings up the little incident that happened last year for one of their main events. Now, someone leaked information on the Kinetic Scam webpage. One of their main events was like match game. This person got into the match game, and then a week before the convention, Kineticon staff emailed this person and said, would you like to be on the waiting list because we are planning to have one of our guests be in this panel. Would you mind being waitlisted so we can hear back from them?
They actually told you that?
Yes, and I saw the email.
I can understand their approach because, if anyone who knows the premise of the match game, it was the contestants were trying to match the panel of celebrities, per se, so I can get that they want to go that route, but it was still a dick move on their part that they're now waitlisting the regular attendee/panelists
who already got accepted
in favor of the guests who they didn't even consent to it yet, if they even did.
And then we have the whole convival issue.
Ugh.
This is something I'm not familiar with, so what is convival or whatever?
Convivial? Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know why I keep saying convival. Alright, whatever is
just call it clusterfuck after dark or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Because Kineticon cannot operate after 9 p.m. because they don't have.
Is that something the convention told them, or is that they just didn't contract the space?
They claim they don't have enough people on staff to help them, so they have to close at 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
That sounds made up.
That does sound made up to me.
Welcome to Connecticut.
It's a combination of made up and the fact that they've lost a lot of their best staff and volunteers because of their douchebaggery, pretty much.
And basically, Convivial is basically not affiliated with Kineticon. Bullshit. Even though on their flyers it says part of Kineticon.
Or that you need to use a Kineticon badge to get into the events.
Which the events are basically bar hopping in Hartford.
Oh, man.
Which has basically taken over with since there's no more rave anymore, because there has never been a rave. Rave has never been a thing at Kineticon. It's a after-hours social dance. That's what they
That sounds like a middle school thing.
Yeah,
like after hours dance.
Yeah, that's what they refer to it as. They never call it a rave.
They don't want to associate it with the full-on hardcore rave scenes that usually take place on the West Coast or like New York or LA or wherever.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. The convention centers get nervous when you use the word rave, but if you say dance, they're okay with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I don't like using the word rave either. It's not really what you want.
But at ConnectiCon, it's basically become a running joke, like everything has.
Yeah. Are you going to bring up what happened this year at ConnectiCon?
Oh, I'm trying to think what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll just say it then. You guys were so scared that there was like a shooting or something?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. That freaking dumbass.
Now, there actually was a shot fired.
Right.
But that was basically because Riverfest was happening at the same time. And that was basically two people got in a fight. It's Hartford.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's gotten a lot more dangerous. I never used to remember there being a problem back in the early years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's every major city that has a convention now, though. It's not just Hartford. It happens in Baltimore, happens in D.C., New York, L.A., everywhere. It's a whole different, thing now.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, ConnectiCon basically every... I don't want to bad talk it, but there's just one after another, and there's always something to why are they doing this? Kind of like next year. Now they're going to pay people to do panels.
Oh,
I don't know how that's going to work.
We're so cashing in on that,
though.
Oh,
we definitely are.
Maybe if everybody submits a shitload of panels and they allegedly pay up, maybe we could make them go bankrupt.
You know what, though? Does anyone have any reliable numbers on their attendance?
No. There has been no attendance kept since 2016.
Or at least that they've publicly announced, right?
They have not publicly displayed attendance since around 2014, 2015.
Oh, God.
After that, it's all the numbers according to them. 20, 25, or 30,000.
Well, that can't be.
Their formula from our theory is that they're taking into account all 3 to 4 days times 3 or 4. Multiply the attendance numbers times 3 or 4. They're taking Riverfest attendance. They're taking convivial attendance, even though not affiliated with ConnectiCon.
Who was there? Rick, were you there?
For what? I was. I actually just went for Riverfest. I actually never attended the convention itself.
Not this year?
No.
Because the thing is, what are they at now? It's like $75 for the weekend, or
yeah, $75
plus fees.
Plus fees. You gotta always remember that fee because of Grotix.
Scam-tix.
Well, no, because Grotix is also part of other conventions too. But just seems that this convention always
So looking at it from a money standpoint, if they even had half of this 20-something amount of people, say 10,000, which is feasible, at $75, that's $750,000. That's a lot of money. The convention space rental obviously is going to be a big chunk of that, but he's still making quite a bit of money. So,
yep.
I mean, it's feasible that he's actually going to be able to pay people and not be bothered. I'm just surprised that that's the decision they went with.
Yeah,
and I wonder if it's because they haven't been getting reliable panel submissions.
No, because apparently there was 5 people who didn't show up for panels this year, and they said, oh, we're going to make a system so that we are guaranteeing people we're going to have panels this year.
Yeah, so and then how do you do that? You pay them.
Yeah, and if you get 4 people and you have X many hours, you get up to $400.
Yeah, which is a lot, but that's definitely one way to make sure people show up.
Yeah,
accountability.
And now, Also, one of the other issues is their website in general. I have never seen a website this disorganized.
Now I'm Googling it.
Yeah, it's kineticon.org. When you go to contact, they have blacklisted Yahoo and AOL emails.
What?
Yes. If you have AOL or Yahoo and you try to send them an email, your message gets bounced back. Because
Yeah, I was trying to look for like the times that we were just talking about, and I got very lost in the site. So
It looks better than it used to a couple years ago. But
Definitely,
this 3-column thing isn't very
The
user-friendly.
con organizer must have hired either an IT guy or must have found a staffer who's very tech savvy to clean up the website. Those are my theories, at least.
The red's a little hard to read, and the colors are a little too, I'm blinded by the white.
Yeah.
It's not good color palette. The font's not great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
And you can never really find, like, proper information on it. The only way to find proper information is if you go to the Kineticon Facebook page and ask, but no matter what you send them in the Facebook page, an admin has to approve your message.
Oh, God.
My God. The choice of how they've organized these columns at the top, about, and then advertise? Their second most important thing is advertising, then contact, then rules, login, and then register.
Yes.
Like, registration should be, like, right after the about.
No, just reading over. See, this is where my experience with Kineticon was, again, from the Artist Alley, and just reading some of their rules for displays. It's like the maximum height allowed for display is only 3 feet from the top of your table, or 8 feet from the top of from the floor. And just those kind of restrictions on artists or even dealers is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And their price, you get an 8 by 8 foot space with a 6 foot table, and it's $350, and it's limited to one artist per booth, so you can't even share.
Yeah.
And you
Welcome to Kineticon.
you can get electricity, telephone service, and internet service through the convention center at additional charges.
Oh my God, this is
So
painful to
the
listen
convention
to.
center Wi-Fi, where like tens of thousands of people are trying to use the same internet?
Yes.
Oh, that really gives me a bang for my buck.
Yep.
The exhibitor booths don't have the restrictions that the artists do with the table height or whatever that is, but their booths are only 10 by 10, and they're $800 a piece.
Oh, God.
Welcome to Kineticon. Money, please.
For a dealer's booth, that's more in line with what a lot of the prices are, but it depends. Again, it's hard to tell because Kineticon doesn't advertise their actual attendance numbers.
I'm curious.
Like, you could go to Anime Boston and definitely expect to pay $1,000, but they also have 25 to 30,000 people going there.
Hemlock, where can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook at PopCultAnimeCon. We are on the web at popcultanimecon.com. We also have Facebook, or again, I said Facebook. We have all the social media. We have Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram. I don't know if we're on Snapchat yet, but you just type in PopCultAnimeCon and you can find us. So please look us up and like us on Facebook, and check us out next August.
Kat, after all this has been said and done, where can people find you?
Oh, gosh. You can find me on social medias on Twitter at LabyrinthCat and Facebook.com/NerdistCat. And if you want to check out any of my many other podcasts, I never have to promo all 3 of them at the same time.
You want me to do it? Because I've listened to these your shows so much, I know exactly what they are.
Yeah, go for it. I want to hear the comparison.
Okay, you can find her on What the Fuck at 1201beyond.com, Nerd Third Power, and This Week in Geek.
Thespian. So Nerd to the Third Power is available on YouTube and iTunes and This Week in Geek. And my third show is Thespian Talk, which is over on rtgomer.com. And if you are interested and you happen to live in the Midwest, I also am one of the directors of Anime St. Louis. As I said several times, we are going to be next May. So check us out. We actually just this weekend announced our first guest, which you have to find out at animestl.net.
Very nice. Souleman, where can people find you?
I'm all over the place on social media. Do I update a lot? That's up in the air because I'm getting to that age where social media and internet is kind of like, oh, but...
Old man yells at the cloud.
Right now I've still got my YouTube going, youtube.com/SouleMedia, mostly just pumping out episodes of Three Guys, One Internet. If you need to find it that way, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Souleman X. Usually it's like, I believe it's like an underscore between my name, but it's pretty easy to find. I mean, you're going to post our stuff at the description, right?
Oh, yeah,
Rick?
definitely. Yeah. Alice, where can people find you?
Literally just on Instagram at gearhead_Alice.
And you can find me on Twitter at DefaultRick. Follow the channel and on Twitter and Instagram at Superfancom Show. Email us at superfancomshow@gmail.com. You could, of course, listen to us and watch us. You can watch us on YouTube and Twitch at Superfancom. You can listen to us on Spotify, Buzzsprout, Google Play, and Stitcher. And also check out all of our sponsors in the description below. For Alice, Hemlock, Ilnx, and of course the cat, I'm RetroRic. Good night.